And good afternoon. It is Wednesday, September 6th, just past 1:30 p.m. Mr. Frank Prosnich joins me. Frank, how are you? You're on mute there, Frank. Well, he'll pull up here in just a minute. He was probably saying all the smart stuff.
There we go. I'm unmuted. Something happened.
I asked how you were, so I guess you might as well answer again.
I'm fine.
All right.
Okay.
Back to school. We are back to school, and I was sad to postpone it last week because normally we catch up with the superintendent of Newport Public Schools on the last Wednesday of every month. But I had an interview with somebody last week, and had to push it to this week. She is Colleen Jermain. It is the first week of school. Wow. How are we feeling, Superintendent?
We're feeling great. We're very excited. We had a great opening yesterday with the teachers, very upbeat, focus on students. That's our number one priority. And then I have to give kudos and a shout out to Executive Director Tracy Shea from Newport Community School. We had an amazing back to school bash at the Elks yesterday. And thank you to Joanne Ritchie over there at the Elks for letting us all use the facilities. And we had all our community partners, haircuts. Kids were allowed to, young people are like to have haircuts. We had water. We had back to school supplies. We had every community partner there supporting our children. We had Rhodey Squash. We had, everyone, Boys Girls Club. We had the bouncy house. We had the slide. Ooh. It was quite the event. Yes.
How much time did you spend in the bouncy house, Superintendent?
I did not get a chance. The line was very long and it was very warm. So I got a tray of waters and I went around and I passed out waters to everyone at the tables and all that. I did my good deed. So
I what's the background behind you?
The background behind me? Those are all children the first year that Pell Elementary School opened in 2013, 10 years ago. And some of them are, the elementaries are. And then the larger, we have our high school teams. We have some of our Thompson middle school players over there. So it's kind of a reminder to everyone that we're all here for students. We're all here for the children and young people to be able to do their best, be their best. And we just keep that our focus every day.
That's great.
Superintendent, I think we could say that you're always in a bouncy house, but with all that's going on.
Or a house of mirrors.
Schools, I want to just start before I forget with Penny's question that she had sent in, and it has to go. I think you already heard about this, but I'll read it so people know that you already reacted to it. Hi, Superintendent. I emailed you earlier about the problem with the Pell bus routes this morning. Thank you for your promptly reply and apology. Can you please talk more, she means during this opportunity that we have today, about how the school bus contract works, who is our vendor, what is the term of the contract, how long do they contract with us for? Do we usually, Penny's going to need her own half hour. Do we usually get enough competitive bids when the contract is put out? What service conditions there are? Everyone seems to say that bus service is notoriously challenging, especially in the first week, but this company seems to have made a number of significant staff moves starting off this year and causing parents a lot of angst. So buses, what were the issues? Buses. What are we solving with our good friend, Tony Murgo?
Yeah, you've got it right, Ryan. Tony Murgo from Ocean State, they're our bus providers. And I have to say they have been a good partner with us. They've been through us through the 2021 school year when we returned to the classrooms, and they've really been there for us. They have a lot of challenges, as we do with staffing, as far as getting enough drivers, as far as getting support people on the buses. And unfortunately, yes, it does happen every year that to get the kinks out, there's a bus schedule that's put out. And then what happens is there's the reality of what happens when the tires hit the pavement. You have some families that might be there on time. You have others that are tentative of getting on the bus. And until those routines set in, it does not always work as well as we would like. Unfortunately, today, there seemed to be some kind of mix-up. And what happened was the bus arrived early, and I I always say this, and as a former principal, I used to say, if you arrive early, stay at that stop until that time comes, because all it does is it's a domino effect. You arrive at every other stop early, and then what happens is you have people who go out to the stop and there's no bus. So Tony's team was very responsive. They did send out another bus, and we did get everyone to school safely, but not without the angst from the family and the upset to see the bus rolling away because it came earlier than expected. So we're hoping for a better day tomorrow. My executive director, Ronnie Gonsalves, he works with the bus company on this. Penny, to answer your question, most bus contracts go for 3 years. What we have here in Newport, we're on a 1-year extension right now, and we have an option for another one. Then we go out to competitive bidding. Good question about how many usually bid. Not many. It's a very challenging, very challenging job, I'll say. And the responsibility is huge. But we are so dependent upon transportation and on our buses. And to your point, it can make or break the start of your day. So we're hoping for better results tomorrow. I am sorry to everyone that did have a bad experience this morning on that Pell Elementary route, and we will keep them monitored. Our principals try to keep it monitored. What we do is we actually have a system. Last bus out of, Rogers, we text over to Thompson because we are on a tiered system. The same buses are used for the next grade level, Thompson, and then finally the Pell students. So anything that happens at the beginning of the bus transportation day, whether it's at Rogers or in the middle at Thompson, will have an impact on the elementary buses. So we try to stay on top of them as much as possible. And again, I apologize for any and all angst parents went through this morning.
Are they short on drivers?
At this time, no, I'm not aware of them being short on drivers. I do know we have new drivers that may not know the area as well as some of our veteran drivers. But right now, no, we don't have a shortage of drivers.
I think, Superintendent, I should know the answer. If people experience issues with the buses in the morning, who should they contact? What should they do?
They should be contacting the bus company. That is in the backup. It's on the bus schedule that we send out. I'm looking around to see if I have anything that has the bus company's telephone number on it right now in front of me. I do not. But you can always contact your school building principal. But the bus company is the point of contact for any and all problems with the buses.
Excellent.
When we look at staffing, are you fully staffed?
I have two positions. I believe an offer was made to someone the other day. And then I have one long-term, 1 year only reading specialist. So anyone out there that has a reading or is retired, a reading degree, or has done reading, that would be at the high school level. So I have one.
How about positions related to mental health? Are they all filled?
Yes, all our positions are filled there. We actually have a few new programs that we started last year, and we'll continue those additional services for our students and families.
Superintendent, how's day number 1 going at the construction site that is Rogers High School?
It's hot. Day number 1 is going well. We have the foundations in. You'll see the steel rods. The poster, the new, nope, it's not up there yet. The actual schematic, the rendering will be going up very soon. So you'll be able to see what the new building's going to look like when we finish the building. So we're very excited to have that poster up very shortly. Okay, thank you very much. I have the Ocean State Transit telephone number. Someone just handed it off to me. Okay, area code 401. Anyone have a busing problem? Call area code 401-388-5026. 388-5026. Our manager's first name is Frank.
I was going to say, don't ask for Tony.
Good
I know
name.
Tony very well, but do not. Everybody
Frank.
should not call asking for Tony.
Ask for Frank.
There we go. All the contracts settled with teachers, et cetera.
Teachers' contract is finished and completed. Again, I want to thank Teachers Association of Newport, TAN. We had very good discussions. First and foremost, students are our number one priority. We got a lot done. Council 94, our support staff, we're still in those discussions, and it's not for lack of wanting to complete the contract. It's literally social engagements, people's calendars, vacations. So we'll be back at the table. I believe it's Wednesday and Thursday of this week. Then next week, we're pretty close. We're hoping to have that contract sealed and delivered no later than our October school committee meeting.
Superintendent, how many more bouncy house parties do we have to have at the Elks to pay for the remaining costs inflation on Rogers High School?
Well, good question. We're actually going to be getting that magic number. Supposedly we'll have it by the beginning of next week.
Wow.
Yeah.
I should have waited one more week to talk to you.
There you go. We're going to have it. We're going to have the number, and then we'll take a look at where the gap is. And we'll have discussions going forward on how we want to address it. We are in the middle of writing up a draft for a stage 1 application. It does not commit anyone to anything, meaning going out to bond, the city council from funding or anything like that. It's just simply getting us in the queue if the district wants to go further with the RIDE process for application for additional schools, building, etc.
Has there been any other redesign to save costs? I had a conversation this morning with Mark Garso in Westerly, and they have a much smaller bond, $50 million, and they are making some serious changes to some of their projections relative to renovations at 2 of the elementary schools. Anything more in terms of Rogers and any other prospects for funding?
So that's not surprising. I think everyone's having to deal with the reduction of what one wants to build in one's community. Westerly and Newport, very similar in that way. No, at this point, at this point, we have automotive and cosmetology are not in the new building site, not in the design, but they were designed and we took them out because they were not part of the original application. And now I have to go to the Wayback Machine in 2019 when those 2 programs, we wanted those in, we were told that those were not CTE board approved careers, et cetera. So if we wanted to, as a community, have them in there, sure, go ahead and do it. But you're not going to necessarily get any funding for those. Fast forward, and now the CTE board has approved those. We have always had a restriction on the square footage RIDE is allowing us, and that's 167,000 square feet. So right now, the building is within that parameter without those 2 programs in a central office. There was a lot of misinformation when a few weeks back, the school building committee went back and made a decision to take down the NACTEC building at the same time we're taking down the Rogers High School building. We were always going to be taking that building down eventually, but went back in December when we were doing value management. And for the audience that may not know, that means when you're cutting, you're taking things out of a project to get within a budget. When we were doing that in December, it was decided we would take the automotive, cosmetology, and central office out and keep that building until we had enough funding for those programs, while at the same time, we were saving money. Well, let's fast forward now. That decision gets made in December, January. And then as we're going forward, because now we have to redesign the site because we're going to keep the building. So now the roadway gets changed, utilities get changed, even the track and field location gets changed. And the more I personally will speak for myself, was watching this happen, I didn't see any savings. If anything, I saw more costs because of these other ways we were going to have to do things and whatnot. So it did get brought back to the board about, all right, should we just go with plan A? Everything comes down at the same time. And now we go full throttle and we look into fundraising for the automotive and cosmetology program, which we already have plans for. And the building was specifically designed to put these programs back into the module. And that's where we are right now. So we have all the NACTech. We have all 7 CTE NACTech programs are in the new building, which is exactly what the intent was of the bond, have a fully integrated CTE program with academics, AP courses, all of the above, so that all our children would have the ability to take all of the different courses we offer at Rogers High School, because we have some juniors and seniors that go over into the CTE building. They can't believe it when they get over there. They go, oh my gosh, I had no idea there was a restaurant here. There's a garage here. So that in itself was a message to us that, you know what, we need all our students in one building, one location. The other thing is, I'm going to speak as a superintendent for security. I want all the children in one location. We are not a junior college or not a university, and we don't have a type of setting in order to ensure that all my children are safe in one location.
When we take a look at cosmetology and automotive, those broken out, what is the cost?
So we did have preliminary numbers that came to us, and they were very preliminary. So preliminary, nobody really wants to say what the numbers are. But I would say, if my memory, and I'm going on my memory, if my memory serves me correctly, I think it was around $9 million. But
how many students participate?
That was then.
Yeah.
Because we're finding prices change all the time.
Sure.
Do you know approximately, I know we're putting you on the spot, how many students participate in those 2 programs?
Those 2 programs. Off my top of my head,
That's okay.
I'd say about.
I don't want to, yeah.
I would say, well, I got to look at 20 times. Probably about 100, maybe 100, I'd say. I know of all our CTE programming, 70% of our student body is involved in CTE programming.
I saw it on social media as well. Oh, look they're getting rid of the building. They're getting rid of all the programs. So to make it clear one more time, because this is What's Up Misinformation, I'm getting rid of the Noop, and we're just going to go What's Up Misinformation from now on.
Yes, yeah.
Nothing is going away.
No, nothing is going away. And our full intent is to have automotive and cosmetology in the new building along with everything else. And as a matter of fact, we had an open house last Wednesday, and we had all of our out-of-district families come. They seem to get it and understand it, because it would be the freshmen, that families that would be like, oh no, what's going to happen? Are we going to finish our programs? Everyone's going to finish their programs. We're going to get everyone through their programs and certifications.
When you look at enrollment for this year, are you down, up, level?
We're level, which someone said to me the other day. That's good.
Yeah, that is good.
But we're level right now, and we don't have final numbers yet. So like anything, every district I've ever worked in, it's almost like people see the yellow buses go by and go, oh, it's time for school. I got to register my child. So we still have active registrations still going on.
I'm surprised that it's level. This is a conversation for a whole other day where we could have a lot of other guests on as well. Mm-hmm. Seeing that there's so much talk about the prices of real estate going up, families being driven out of the community, all of this, kind of shocking that it's staying the same. It hasn't dipped over the last couple of years.
Right. Well, it has dipped over the past couple of years. I'm just going from last year. Yeah, just from last year.
So again, in my conversation with Mark Garso this morning, about enrollment. We took a look at the kindergarten class,
Mhm.
and we took a look at how the kindergarten enrollment over the last few years has taken a significant dip, and potentially looking at affordable housing being one of the culprits to that, and the difficulty for people to afford to be able to buy a home or rent an apartment in Wesley. I would assume we have the same kind of a situation in Newport.
Very similar. Newport per capita has the highest affordable housing in the state. So we're very similar, as far as the, the numbers regarding them, except for I think we have more availability than Westerly. The little ones, and by that, I mean by kindergarten, I have 7 Ks this year, which in the past, I've always had to maybe shift over to 8. In the past 3 years, it's been, we'll plan for 7, then we have to open an 8th. And as of this morning, I'm still at 7 kindergartens. The highest I've had is 9 kindergartens, which was about, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. But right now, I'm at 7 kindergartens.
And how many in one of the kindergartens?
22.
22. So you're talking about 150, 160 kids.
About, yeah, more like 145, 150. Yeah.
I'm just going to hit on all the best stuff, seeing we haven't talked to you in a while. How's the dirt pile going, and what's the latest with the dirt pile?
It's very quiet. Everything's fine. It's covered with the cocoa mat. We haven't had any situations. All is good with the dirt pile.
Well, all right. Frank, what do you got?
U.S. News and World Report just came out with its top high schools in the country. I think they did about 18,000. They looked at around the country, and they looked at 58 in Rhode Island. And Newport, a couple of things jumped out at me with Newport and Middletown, for that matter. They stopped at 32, and so I think both Middletown and Newport were rated at 32. Middletown at 31, and Rogers at 32, and the numbers incredibly similar between the two communities.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that struck me about Newport were the number of economically disadvantaged students in the system that obviously is a huge makes it difficult, certainly, to be able to score as high as some of these other communities, and certainly puts some real challenges on the school system.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you want me to respond to that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I was going to say, is there a question?
Is there a question there? All right.
Well, put a question mark at the end. I'll rephrase it.
So here's my question to you. In the top 3, what are the demographics?
Well,
What's
surely
free and reduced?
The aberration in the top 12 or 13 actually is Westerly, that has a higher number of economically disadvantaged. That was I guess that was maybe my question, really, because people will take a look at that and they'll just look at the numbers, but it's very clear that, for instance, classical is number 1. And my question in classical, they have a 99% graduation rate. I want to know who the 1% are.
Well, it's also an exam school. You have to qualify to get into that school. So it's not.
How can 1% not graduate from classical?
Yeah. So classical is an exam school.
But your first ones, you've got classical, you've got East Greenwich, you've got Barrington, you've got Portsmouth. Those are your top.
And what
4.
are their socioeconomics?
Yeah, and exactly. And so.
And their demographics. They're free and reduced.
Yeah, if I'm correct, economically disadvantaged in Newport was over 50%. Does that seem accurate?
That's absolutely accurate. It's as high as 72, 73% in my elementary and middle school.
So then so clearly somebody coming from that kind of an environment, they come from a home life in which it's logically they're not going to have the same kind of books in the household, same kind of background in terms of parents, and then not the financial resources. How do you make up for that in the classroom?
Well, I think the first and foremost thing is no matter where, what school system you're in, you have to know your community and you have to know your children. And when you know your children and you know the supports they need, you make sure you have a system that can provide those supports. And we've made a concerted effort here in Newport to make sure we have those supports, as well as introduce our students to experiences maybe wasn't typical for children, all children, I'll say. And the one magical thing about Newport is its community partners. Boys and Girls Club stepped up immediately. Lillian Hargrove, a retired nurse, I've told the story, came into me and said, Colleen, your kids don't know how to swim. They need to know how to swim to be able to go to the beach, to have other experiences. So Boys and Girls Club in grade 2, we started swimming lessons as part of their PE. Grade 3, they do Save the Bay and they learn about the environment around them. And then grade 4, that's when they hop on a sailboat. And those experiences open up their worlds. Those experiences teach them to learn how to collaborate, work with others, do teamwork. And it helps them to apply what they're learning in the classroom to what's happening out on the water and vice versa. And then you have Team Fame. Unbelievable. Just 2 weeks ago, I think we had 8 or 9 of our grade 8 students leaving Thompson Middle School. Over 90% of them were making the honor roll. 2 of them had the highest math averages. And these are young people that didn't think they could even walk through the doors when they went to the Tennis Hall of Fame. Those kind of experiences, not only for the children, but for their families and parents who come to the events. And when we celebrate them at the end of the day, at the end of that event, after the Team Fame graduation, going 5, 6, 7, and 8, learning how to play tennis and then doing their academics. Academics are the focus. They go to they go down to New York to the U.S. Open. So those kind of worldly experiences, speaking with people, learning how to communicate, it's amazing what happens. And then you come over to Rogers and you continue those kind of experiences, especially with our internships, with the culinary, cosmetology. They have to learn, and those kind of things, they start to apply the classroom learning to the outside, to the real world. We had 2 of the 5 children that were eligible for the Carter Scholarship, over $320,000 made available for those 2 children to be able for their 4 years of college and beyond. Rogers High School had 2. Last year, we had National Merit Scholars. We had 2. We were the only high school on the public high school, I should say. St. George's had 1 too. We're the only one. So there's different ways of measuring things. I'd really have to look into the metrics, into how U.S. News and World Report decide that. But when I look at that, and I look at least knowing Rhode Island, and I see their top 5 or top 10, first thing I always do is I always look at, okay, what communities are they? What are their demographics? What are the finances? All of those things, they matter.
And just to give you a little perspective, in U.S. News and World Report, they say that 60% of students at Rogers are economically disadvantaged. Mm-hmm. Middletown, by the way, is 29%, mm-hmm. and Portsmouth, which rates number 4, 7%, mm-hmm. which really underscores exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. So when, it's interesting, they look at the high school one, because in order to, when they do the metrics, they always look at the elementary and middle school. Like they take that average, I think it's PK through 6. So as far as qualifications for federal grants and things like that, Title I, etc.
I just have one more question, and it's kind of a broad one. What's new this year?
What's new this year?
Find differently, and what will the parents find different?
Okay, so we have algebra. We had an algebra boot camp, and I just talked to Department Chair Lisa Canole, and see how that went. So we're going to watch those students that went to boot camp, and we'll see how they do in their algebra. But this year, I'm actually having an advisory council. A parent Teacher and Student Advisory Council. And it's really all about communication and allowing people the time to sit, ask me questions, make me aware of what's out there, and then at the same time delivering messaging and giving them information about what's happening or what's coming in the future for our students. I think the other thing that I mentioned last year, parents should be really aware of the importance of math, and especially at the middle school level, as well as the new high school requirements. So the children in the 8th grade, when they get over to Rogers, as all high school students now, they'll be expected to have some kind of internships or in order to graduate, outside work experience. So it's kind of new. It was shared with us last year. Let me see, what else do we have? We have parent conferences. We have 2 of them this year. Both are being held on Election Day, and it's going to be all day. We're going to stagger the times in our schools for our parents so that they're aware of when they can go visit their teachers. And the first one, I believe, is November 7th, and the second one is on April 2nd. Open houses, they're coming up very soon. The first is September 25th. Is going to be 5:30 to 6:30, and that's for our little ones, PK, KM1 at Pell. And they have to have 2 nights because they have so many children. And then September 26th, 5:30 to 6:30 will be grades 2, 3, and 4. And then over at Thompson, oh my goodness, 5:30 to 6:30 on the 27th for their open house. And Rogers will have theirs October 4th, 5:30 to 7. But something that's really new is our brand new principal, Dr. Mike Browner.
Yes.
That's what's really new. Dr. Browner had his first day, is having his first day. It's not over yet at Thompson Middle School as the new principal, and we're very excited for him. He got a huge round of applause yesterday at our teacher orientation. So,
and what's his background a little bit?
Michael is born and bred Newport, went through Newport Public Schools, has been teaching in Newport schools for approximately 23 years, went away into an administrative position outside of the district, came back, and is now our new middle school principal. So we're very excited. Yes, it's what he always wanted to do. So we're excited for him.
Great.
All right, you two need to be a little bit more excited. It's the first day of school.
Hey, my first day of school.
I feel like I'm carrying you two today.
It was a late night with the election last night.
Okay,
and,
there's your. Okay, now I understand.
And it's 90 degrees out. And...
yeah, 90 degrees out. Worked until 11 last night. Got back up at 5 a.m. Yeah.
Now here's your question: do you have air conditioning?
I do, Frank.
Yep. Although I have it off now because it makes too much noise.
Yeah.
No, we don't have it down here at Rogers. We are so happy in the new building. We will.
Is there, I saw some communities outside of Rhode Island, where let's say it gets a couple degrees hotter. Is there any possibility that we might go to distance learning if it gets a little unbearable?
No, based upon the weather forecast, we're saying no. We're just saying be smart. Be mindful, sleeveless, dress on today.
East Greenwich either closed early or did not open today.
Really? No, yep. I did not hear about that. We have, fans. Pell has reconditioned air, which is very different. What's that?
You always have fans.
Oh, okay. There we go. Okay. And we have fans, and we're trying to keep the air circulating. So hopefully, tomorrow and Friday won't be as bad. So we'll see how it goes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else that's, I know we're over time here, and that's why I was kind of calming down and quieting down, because I know you're very busy, but yes. Is there anything we didn't get to that you wanted to get to?
Attendance. I'm very proud of the mayor and my school committee chair. They'll be sending out a communication to the whole city of Newport and parents and families about the importance of attendance.
We already ran it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
WhatsAppNewp.com. It ran yesterday
Did it?
or the
I
day
missed
before.
it.
It's okay.
I look at every day. I look in the morning
I
and
don't
the
know.
afternoon. I missed it.
I don't
All
know.
right. But we're very proud of that because it is a team effort. And no one, I don't think, really understands the importance of being in school every day, because it's just, it builds, expectations, work expectations, your responsibilities, showing up to work every day, showing up to school every day. And you don't want to ever, ever allow your children to get into the pattern of, can I stay home today or whatever?
Yeah.
No, we got to build that back. You got to go to school, be there. You don't want to miss things. And the other thing, what happens with children, especially in the socialization part, is when they're absent, they start to feel not part of the group anymore, uncomfortable. So that's why it's really, really important that they focus on that
It's
attendance.
the most important part. You got to
It
show
is.
up for everything.
That's right. That's right. Wasn't there a comedian that had something else?
There is.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think about it while you were speaking.
Yeah, there was
something. Yeah, but
all things in life, 90% or something is just showing up.
yeah,
I don't know.
It's very
Yeah.
true, actually.
that's it.
Yep. Well, the Rogers buses are heading out just
Okay.
to let the public know.
All right.
There they go. And so high school students are on their way home. Thompson students will be getting on their buses very shortly.
Bus complaints, 401-388-5026.
That's right. Thank you, Frank. And ask for Frank, not Frank
Ask for
Prospect.
Frank.
Ask for
Not
Frank.
me, not me.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, Superintendent, we appreciate you taking the time, and
Thank
we
you.
will chat with you later on this month. So we'll get a recap of how the first couple of weeks school went, as well as we'll be paying attention to all the latest on what's going on in the project. We'll probably touch base with you next week to get that number of what it might possibly be. When I say that number of how much extra money inflation has done on this project.
Right,
And
right.
for anybody who wants to say, oh, inflation is happening everywhere. It's happening at your grocery store. It's happening absolutely everywhere. So,
And just to kind of a second sentence to that, it's not unique to Rogers or to Newport. School systems across the state. There are one of the interesting explanation I heard a little bit, because we have so many school projects underway in Rhode Island, that a lot of the contractors are actually almost inflating some of the numbers because they can. And as things, I know some systems have actually put things off to wait until things settle down a little bit.
No, that makes sense. That's right. Because all of a sudden it was like the light switch. School construction got shut off, then it got put back on, which we're very appreciative of. The one thing I think I want to remind everyone, this school bond had two projects. It had the Pell Building Edition with 8 additional rooms, meeting rooms, etc. That was completed within a year, under budget, with a bus loop, site redesign, everything. So I think the other thing people need to remember is there's not just one project under this bond, there's 2 projects. And simultaneously, our co-chairs and school building committee have been working on both.
excellent.
Okay.
All right, Superintendent. Well, we appreciate it, and we hope it starts to cool off over there at Rogers High School soon, and over at all the schools. So, all right, Superintendent, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Talk to you later
Take
this
care.
month.
Thank you.
That is Superintendent Colleen Jermain. We appreciate her joining us every single month. She joins us, and we pushed her 1 week because I had an interview that popped up last week, which I wish I could promote, but I can't remember who it was. But I will promote another conversation I had just a short while ago. Gabe Amo, Democratic nominee for Rhode Island's 1st Congressional District, joined me earlier this afternoon. That interview is up available on whatsuppnewp.com now. What else, Frank?
Well, we think it's. I see a couple of trees that are starting to change color.
Oof. Okay.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to have a leaf expert, a autumn expert on to talk about what the heat means for the color changing.
Yeah, we get it all the time, though. We always get a little bit of warmth coming in the early fall. So
All right. Somebody said that's a real doorknob question, Frank. I don't know if that was your question that wasn't a question or what that's in reference to, but I don't know if it's a compliment or an insult.
I don't know. Either way, I'll take it.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah. So I think, it's interesting. If people are interested in that U.S. News and World Report, they can access it, obviously, and they not only have the ranking, but then they have a pretty significant breakdown of each community, and pretty interesting. They'll tell you about math scores, reading proficiency, science proficiency, graduation rate, and a whole host of other things that kind of give you a snapshot of the school system. And the superintendent is absolutely correct. You really have to look at the makeup of the community, and a lot of things factor into that feed into exactly why those numbers are what they are. And I was shocked to see the economically disadvantaged number at 60% even for Rogers. And that to me is shocking and certainly presents challenges.
And people can also read more about it on whatsupnewport.com. You wrote a column over the last couple of days about the whole report. Penny writes in, doorknob means when you ask a big question on the way out. It's an old doctor joke.
It's all right. Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, I guess I could ask a big question on the way out. How about those Orioles?
How about those Orioles?
Yeah, there we go. All right, Mr. Prosnitz, thanks for joining us. And I also want to thank the superintendent for joining us. If you missed any portion of this conversation, want to watch it again, want to give us feedback on the interview, have a question for the superintendent, all available on whatsupnewport.com. You can find it all there. The superintendent will join us on the last Wednesday of this month, as she does every single month. Last Wednesday of the month, superintendent joins us. If you want to catch any of our other interviews, especially with Gabe Amo earlier today, all available on whatsupnewport.com. Thanks for watching.